Hey everybody. Um, this is actually kind of coming late Friday. Right now it is 11:46 p.m. Friday night. So technically still the Friday show, but it is going to be dropping on Saturday. Um, Not what I intended, but it is what it is at this point with this, just for the simple fact that had a lot going on today. So that's kind of gonna unpack a little bit about that and kind of go into where I have had to deal with some stuff, right? Comparatively, if I were to look at the previous videos, right? If I look at the things from the first two episodes, I am actually in my room right now. There's a little bit of a scenery change, only because of the fact that um, Drew is home and has the potential of walking in and out of the living room at any given time. So it's just easier if I do it in here in the privacy of my room. Good thing is that I have I have pretty good backgrounds. Freaking my computer set up right there, as you can see. Inosuke, Edward Elric, and of course the Prince of All Saiyans, Vegeta. So, and if you don't know who those people are, that's fine. I'm not expecting you to, but get cultured, okay? Just kidding. Um, how do I start today? Um, well, let's get a quick breakdown, right, of what the day looked like. Got up pretty late, just in time, just really to get ready and go to work. Only because of the fact that again, trouble sleeping, and so it is just always at the last minute, last second that I'm rushing out of here and trying to get myself all put together. I'm working on it, but it is one of those things that it's going to take a little bit of time to kind of get back into that routine again. And so I guess that's where we can start is building out the healthy routine. Um, Today is Feel Good Friday. As I mentioned before, I was gonna be dressed up, button up. I posted it up on Instagram, and it's not gonna. I'm not gonna lie. It's nice to get some of the the positive feedback, right? Because of the fact that um, I'm starting this again. I'm starting getting myself into my routine slowly but surely. And what does that look like? What does my routine look like? What am I working to accomplish with the routine? I am looking for the discipline that I need to prep my meals, do my workouts, finish all my tasks at work, come home and do whatever it is that I got to do around here. I try to keep things pretty easy at home. I try to keep it easy at home just so that way when I come home, that's one less stress that I got to worry about. It's uh it's easy and sometimes it's difficult. A lot of the times it should be easy just because, as long as I kind of pick up and tidy along as I go, it becomes a little bit more manageable. If I wait till everything just all the shit hits the fan, well then of course, I gotta pick up the pieces and then put them all away and all that stuff. Clothes, freaking other items around, whatever. And so that's essentially the routine, right? I'm trying to get all of that squared away, try to get all that set up. And you know what I just realized? I realized that I didn't even have the ring light on, and it was good for my optics as far as the glasses are concerned, because then you don't get that weird reflection right there. But I was like, why is it so damn dim? Like me, right? Um, self deprecation is fun for me. So the day, how did the day go? Kind of like it's going right now. A little anxiety driven, and having to deal with that has been just awful. Especially when you're not self medicating, when you're not trying to avoid the feelings but lean into them. One of the things that I realized myself is that, I gotta stop with the wallowing. It's real easy for me to start to feel sorry for myself and start to think about all of the shit that's going on, whether it be emotional, whether as far as work, um, the stresses here at home. You know, Drew and I are you know, as I've mentioned before, blood can't make us any better, any closer to brothers. And with that comes irritations, right? Um, I irritate him, he irritates me. We have our own little things that I'm sure are, for anything that I do, certain things I'm sure irritate the shit out of him, and I know that I've told him that there are things that he does that irritate the shit out of me. But that's life with the roommate, right? I mean, that's life with anybody that isn't you. Because at the end of the day, if you're by yourself, well then, hey, you got nobody else to blame but yourself, right? Whereas if there's other people involved, it's easy to just be like, hey, do this, do that. And yeah, like I said, the added stresses of those things. For the most part, try to keep the lines of communication open. Let them know, hey, look, we got to do this, we got to do that. Same for me, right? He'll say, all right, we got to do this and we got to do that. Really sounds like a fucking relationship. And it kind of is, right? That's again life with a roommate that you're actually friends with, that you spent time and enjoy hanging out. But it's also the fact that like now you're hanging out and there's going to be that clash. There's going to be that, like before, when I was married and he was out, either living with somebody or when he was married, we can hang out, we can enjoy the time together and just shoot the shit, and then we each go to our own separate houses. We don't have to see each other, and now we have no choice. like like before, with his job, he sometimes worked overnight, so varying schedules made it easier to not run into each other. But at the same time, it has been comforting knowing that, hey, look, we each got somebody to kind of come home to for a minute and kind of just be like, all right, cool, we're doing this shit, we're doing that, or whatever. Used to involve a lot of drinking, as we talked about in our second episode of the Real Men Real Ish podcast, right? And so, um, and of course, that's a shameless plug. So, but it doesn't change the fact that these are the things that end up happening. And so, how do we deal with it? Again, I'm coming off the heels of just dealing with my emotional shit, and I'm gonna continue to deal with it. It's gonna be something that consistently have to work on. I don't think there's gonna be a time in my life where I'm not working on this stuff because I'm aware of it, and because I'm aware of it, and I want to address it. I want to make sure that I am better for it, and it makes it that much harder. I'm aware of these things. I wish I could live in ignorance of the things that bother the ever living shit out of me. But I can't. Because then how am I going to change it? Like I said, I got up this morning, and just like the past few days, I get up and I'm irritated. I'm not irritated, I'm anxious. Irritated, maybe irritated with myself that I just feel that way. And so I, oh, my Bible app telling me that another, the verse of the day, although I check it in the morning, but um, that's just one of the things that I do to kind of calm the storm. But I woke up again anxious. Uh, Dictionary is intense, excessive, and persistent worry and fear about everyday situations. Fast heart rate, rapid breathing, sweating, and feeling tired may occur. Wow. Oh, rapid breathing. I haven't had that. I mean, I actually, no, I lie. Yesterday. Yesterday was a pretty solid freaking breakdown. Got into work, again, anxious as all hell. And I'm sitting there setting up and everything, and I can't shake it. My body is just anxious, and having to deal with it and feeling like, honestly, I just wanted to run away. I didn't know if I should even be at work. And there's going to be days that, like, probably could not go in. I could probably just say, you know what, screw it. I'm not gonna. I can't deal with it today. But yesterday was one of those days where I felt like like convinced that I needed to run and just get away from it. Granted, that right now work is a stressor. There are things going on that I'm trying to, make sure that I stay on top of, and the potential for a lateral move to a different department. So I'm definitely trying to make sure that I put my best foot forward for that. But I had to step away from where I was in the office at my desk, having set up my computer, getting ready for the day, and just had to leave and walked to my car, got in the car, and I broke down. I broke down crying, screaming because of the anxiety. What am I anxious about? What is it? What is the inner turmoil that's happening right here that's causing me to feel that way? Again, it's all these stresses. And then it's the idea of not being able to be comfortable with my own self. I'm going to continuously bring up this past weekend, not because I want to like just beat a dead horse, because that's ultimately not what I want. For the time being, it's a fact that that is a point of anxiety for me. And what am I doing to work on that? Oh, it went dark. Is that? We'll light it up one more time. Anyway, the fact that I pushed and I pushed and I pushed because of the thing that I wanted the most, the relationship that I had so sought after, realizing again, like I said before, having to mourn it and realize that it's not gonna happen is rough. But these past couple of days have been a little bit easier and harder at the same time, which is so contradictory. But I'm trying to figure out the brain in that sense is, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to figure that part out. I've gotten to talk to a few friends and talk about all the things that were going on and really get some perspective. But also illuminate the fact that like I am an overthinker. I really am. There hasn't been a single one of them that hasn't looked at me and just like, dude, shut that off. And I look at them, I wish I could. That's where the anxiety is coming from though. That's exactly where it's coming from, is because the brain doesn't want to fucking shut the hell up for long enough for me to be able to just unwind and relax. The internal struggle is definitely the issue. I didn't really prepare for like how to deal with anxiety, right? As far as like this piece and all of the rest of the video. I didn't do any research. I didn't do any um, um because that's not what I'm trying to accomplish in this particular episode. What I'm looking to do is just vent it out, and that's been kind of the the help that I've received in the past few days. Talking to friends, letting it out, processing not just the loss of the situationship, um, but coming to grips with where my life is at now. It's not easy. Um, I have other friends that are uh, less further along than I am when it comes to dealing with situations and anxiety and depression and all these other things. Although the depression has a pleasant side effect of cutting a little bit of weight. Um, I joke around and tell people that depression looks good on me, but it is just coming to grips with where I'm at. Where I am right now is definitely not where I saw myself even last year. We're in January 2024. Last year, I celebrated New Year's with my church family and got to just hang out. And this year, didn't get to do that. So that's different. Not even a whole year has passed since things kind of started to kind of go haywire in my life. So, of course, everything looks different. But what am I doing about it? Again, I'm starting to listen to more books about dealing with my anxiety, dealing with the codependency, dealing with self sabotage, because that one is a big thing for me too. Whether it be relationships or friendships that I can't help but try to like unfortunately throw a freaking grenade into. Recently there's definitely a friendship that it's more of an acquaintance, somebody that I know, but I decided I was gonna throw a grenade in there. Again, drunken stupor was not helpful. um, aside from the situation that I had, and so what caused it? Well, one of the benefits of kind of like talking to people that aren't necessarily as far along as you are in your mental health journey is the ability to kind of see things that they don't see and kind of try to call it out in them. Of course, with closer friends, it's easier to do. Um, you don't want to do that with just some random person, and kind of realizing where they're at. Are they ready to face it? Shit, am I ready? Holy crap, right? Like, again, I mean, I can move forward towards these things. I can make those decisions for myself a little bit easier. Ooh, excuse me, I'm gonna be yawning, even though I just came back from dinner and had like 3 cups of coffee. But don't worry, I'm not gonna sleep anyway. I would say that I could knock out, and I could. I mean, I can have a boatload of caffeine and not even bat an eye. I would knock right out if I was comfortable, felt good. Then I could do that, but I can't, so I won't. Um, maybe I'm just telling myself that, right? Maybe I'm just telling myself I can't, so I don't do it. In order for me to have something to fucking pick at, like a scab, having a scab to pick at. Although sometimes, like, ooh, I can peel that back, reopen the wound, just so I could feel something. And I want it to heal. I want this anxiety just out of me already. Where is it coming from? Of course, if you're watching this, only you can answer where your stuff is coming from. If you're willing to do the work, right? If you're willing to look inside yourself and say, this was my pain point, this was the shatter point, this is the trigger. And mine was uncertainty. Uncertainty of what the future is going to bring. I have no idea what even tomorrow is going to bring. I can plan. God, do I plan? I make plans so much. I start to contemplate all of the different things that I got to do and try to get to a point where I can be confident in whatever situation may arise. I have a plan. I have a plan to do this, do that, or whatever. It's A through Z, and then A1 through Z1, and then eventually A2 through Z2. And I absolutely hate that shit. So, a lot of rambling, right? But again, I'm hoping that this will kind of externalize what some people may be going through. Kind of put it out there. in a way that maybe you weren't ready to focus on. But we're looking for. I know that I look for different things at times to kind of trigger that response that I need. So again, I do want to encourage people to do the work. That's what I'm trying to do right now. The uncertainty of how things will be scares the ever living shit out of me. If I knew how things were going to be exactly, would I still be at peace? Or would I find peace at that moment and knowing all of those things? I don't know. I really don't know if I would actually be at peace. If anything, it'd probably make me even more uncomfortable because I know exactly what's going to happen. And there'd be no way for me to stop it. Oof. That's fucking scary, right? Control. One way or the other, I don't have fucking control. That's illuminating because I hadn't even thought about that. So you're watching in real time me having a fucking epiphany right now. That even if everything was as exactly as I wanted, I still don't have any control because it is already a set point. Things are already set up. And if everything's in fucking chaos, I still don't have any control. Holy shit. Wow. A lot of people have told me, oh, hey, don't stress out about the things that you can't control. But I've never thought to myself, don't stress out about the things that are fixed either. Everybody's always saying whatever will happen will happen. The things that will happen too, right? Like, I mean, that sounded kind of dumb. What I mean is that, like, even if if I can set everything up to happen exactly the way that I wanted it, I still lose an element of control. I no longer have the control because then it's already, again, it's a fixed point. I'm never going to be in control, at least of my external um, things. Of course, I mean, control in the sense where, like, things can come out of nowhere, right? Or if I was going to expect, if I knew what to expect, again, I can't stop it at that point, right? If I, man, maybe this is rambling. I definitely feel like it's a rambling at this point, but wow. Wow. That is just a lot for me to take in right now, which is fine. It really is. Either certainty or uncertainty. There's elements of control that are not there. I can control who I surround myself with. I can control how I react. I can control how I behave. but I can't control other people, much as I try sometimes. I can't control the weather, but it changes. But that's a fixed change. Like it's gonna be cold, it's gonna be hot, it'll be comfortable. Just depends, but it's in a fixed time, right? I have the very disfortunate and yet fortunate blessing of being able to live here in Las Vegas. This place gets hot and it sucks sometimes. But it's nice. A lot of desert, of course. Very few green areas. But it makes you appreciate the fact that the green areas are there. And maybe the scarcity, right? I mean, that's what makes people value things is the scarcity, supply and demand. Peace is so fleeting, but that's why it means more. And I don't want the anxiousness. I don't want this fucking cloud of anxiety looming over me every fucking day. Peace is worth pursuing. Surrendering control in any shape or form that isn't anything that I can do. And well, yeah, surrendering control and the things that there's nothing that I can do. But again, the weather is a fixed control. I mean, a fixed thing. I can't change it. I can hide from it. You know, when it's hot as hell, I can run inside to an air conditioned building. When I'm freezing my ass off, and put on more layers. Those are the things that I can control. But it's still a fixed thing. It's gonna happen. And worrying about what may or may not happen, again, is another instance of control that I just desperately need to get rid of. It's one of the things that I was telling one of my friends was that, yeah, I want control over a lot. And you told me you're not, it's never going to happen. And of course, my stubbornness is like, why not? Because that's just not how it is. So, what then? Lay down and fucking take it? Or get up and do something? One way or the other, I have no control. And again, about the externalities of a lot of different things. I only have full control over myself. And I think that's part of what causes the anxiety, is that I haven't had control over myself. Again, I go back to this previous weekend. I allowed myself to just get stupid drunk. So That way I wouldn't feel the lack of control. I could control how many drinks I had, up to a certain point anyway. But again, the lack of self control and self discipline have caused this anxiety in me. I just want to go. I just want to fucking move. I just want to, like, I want the situation to be completely fucking over. I want to be over it. I want to be done with the healing. I want to be done with all of it. But there's no shortcut. I have to go ahead and take it one step at a time, one day at a time. I know we've talked about it, and when Drew and I have talked about those things, one day at a time. But yet, I want to know what the days bring. I want to know what to expect. And of course, there are, again, just these fixed things. But where the anxiety is coming from right now, at least, that I can tell is coming from the lack of self control. Not knowing how I'm going to react. Oof. Or being scared of reacting in the most negative way. Which, again, I already did. Forgiving myself for that's probably another big point, that allowing myself to go ahead and feel and feel that forgiveness of knowing that I did those things and whatnot. So again, I'm right back in this circular thought here. Where it comes from, for me at least in this moment, I could say that it's coming from knowing that I lack the self control. Where I wanted to just be natural, and it hasn't been. Excuse me again. My goodness. Like I said, gonna yawn. What am I gonna do? Let's see what the dictionary will say about things that I can do. All right. Practice deep breathing. Focus. Deep breaths can calm both your mind and your body. I'll probably give that a shot. Why not? It's easy enough and it doesn't cost me anything. Take stock of the situation. Oof. Another stressful key point for me. God. Picture a beautiful scene. This isn't the dictionary. I apologize. I just thought about that right now. This is just me looking up some stuff online. Use a relaxation app. There's something I haven't done. Probably should look into one. Be proactive about your physical health. Now that's something that I can do. Even if it's tonight, I can do some sit-ups, do some push-ups, do something, right, to kind of force that physical aspect and release some of the chemicals in my brain to just kind of hopefully elevate my mood a little bit. Because again, the depression has been such a bitch. Coming in and just being like, haha, hit you. I took Drew out to dinner tonight. And I didn't eat much. I just got a side order of fries, which they were good. Don't get me wrong. That wasn't the full meal that I probably should have eaten. Well, I know I ate earlier. Again, I kind of forced myself at this point. Like, all right, you need to eat something, Ben. Do it. But these are a few things, what on what to do as far as the anxiety. This one in particular says like chest anxiety. But that's where you experience it. I mean, the elevated heart rate, taking stock of my situation. Wow. What do I take stock of? Everything, I guess. I guess that might be the the best place to start, and then it's such a weird thing. Let's look at the positives. I currently still have a roof over my head. I have my car. I have friends and family that do love me, even when I'm being just a irritating shit. I have my health, as sometimes as it poor as it can be. I have hmm, I have myself. And for those of you that watch this that aren't religious, you know, that's you. But I have God. That regardless of whatever it is, still has me. And that's actually really comforting in this moment. Scary, but comforting. Because I'm so lost right now that it's crazy. Maybe taking stock isn't so bad. Taking inventory of everything. What are these other things? Picture a beautiful scenery. Well, where I was this past weekend, I don't have to picture it. I can look at it. I can look at the stuff on my phone. A beautiful lake that's frozen over. I don't know how frozen over it was because I would not even dare get near the water because, well, screw that if I fall through. But I can picture that in my mind. Picturing the snow that was everywhere. God, the snow was everywhere. Oh man. But in that, there was a peace and calmness that I would like to have inside of me. So picturing, I guess, that scenery, very, very helpful in this moment. Seeing the snow-covered trees and the snow-covered mountains. Where it was just quiet. Ooh, being, being comfortable in silence is not something that I'm used to. Again, there's always so much going on in up here that silence is deafening sometimes. But the snow, the wind bringing the snow in. Freezing my ass off, jeez. Just the idea of it kind of takes me back, having to be in like, multiple layers just to be able to get through. Oof. So again, God, I have all of my material needs and being met to a degree. Not where I wanted, of course. Maybe some things would be easier if I was a millionaire. Who knows? This freaking economy shit. I mean, a million would probably barely get you by too. Emotionally, the people that I know, again, the friends and family that I have that love me and that I love, even when they irritate the ever living shit out of you, man. I still have, and they got me. The relaxation app, I'll take a look into afterwards. The physical activity, I'm not doing push-ups on camera. That's just not happening. But these are some steps, some realizations that I get to put out there for somebody else, hopefully, that will hopefully get to see this and recognize the ramblings as their own thoughts, or again seeing an external representation of those thoughts. Now I get to kind of put this into practice and see where it goes. Is anxiety completely gone? No. But I can already tell you that my heart isn't racing as nearly as much as it was when I started this episode. And if it is, it's caffeine driven, I'll tell you that right now. The amount of caffeine that I've had today, oof. Could definitely probably cause anyone that isn't used to it to fucking just go absolutely freaking crazy. I encourage you, take that deep breath. Take inventory. Picture that scenery. Again, I haven't found an app yet, so we'll try that out. Physical activity. Definitely gonna do that before I go to bed tonight. I don't know how I'm gonna wrap this one up. I guess maybe this way, right? It's just, again, do the work. Do the work. Because nobody else is going to do it for you. I don't know. Hopefully, this was helpful in some shape or form. Aside from the just all the rambling. Again, I eventually get to some kind of point, even in the circle. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up now. Take that sword, stab that demon right in the fucking heart, chop the head off, and keep moving. Do the work. Until next time, this has been the show.